Oggi parliamo di un argomento molto importante, che è il passato prossimo. Innanzitutto, bentornati al corso di italiano con Francesco. E today we are gonna talk about passato prossimo. That is one of the most important and used tenses that we have in Italian, and it's similar to present perfect in English, at least how we build it. So let's see how we build passato prossimo. Passato prossimo is a compound tense. When we talk about compound tenses, that means that we have an auxiliary, so either essere or avere, plus the past participle of another verb. For example, io ho mangiato. So in this case, for passato prossimo, we conjugate the auxiliary avere in present tense, in presente indicativo, ho, and then we add the past participle mangiato. In order to build a participio passato, we have to take the infinitive, we remove the suffix are, ere, ire, and we add the relative suffix for the participio passato. If we have regular verbs, in are we add ato, mangiato, in ere we add uto, so bere, bevuto, and ire, dormire, dormito. So we add ito. So now we know how to build passato prossimo with avere. We also do it with essere. With essere is a bit more complicated because when we use the auxiliary avere, we don't change the past participle regardless of the gender or number of the subject. Io ho mangiato, tu hai mangiato, loro hanno mangiato, for example. So we change the auxiliary, we conjugate the auxiliary based on the person, but the past participle stays the same. When we have the auxiliary essere, in that case we conjugate the auxiliary essere in presente indicativo, and then the past participle has to agree in terms of gender and number with the subject. So, for example, io sono uscito, I went out, masculine singular. If I am a woman, io sono uscita. If we have plural, noi siamo usciti, for a group of men or a mixed group. Noi siamo uscite for a group of only women. And that can be applied to the rest of the conjugation. So, the conjugation with the auxiliary essere is a bit more complicated at first. And then we also need to know what verb goes with the auxiliary essere or avere. Certain verbs they go with avere, others with essere, and there are some verbs that can accept both. And this is probably the most difficult part. Let's say that usually the majority of verbs of movement they use essere, or intransitive verbs, so verbs that don't need an object in the phrase, they use essere, not all the time. And then transitive verb, verbi transitivi, so that they accept, they have an object in the phrase, they are usually with avere. But Why do I say usually? Usually, because then there are exceptions. Because, for example, we say io ho camminato. So it's a movement verb, but doesn't use essere. And regarding these verbs that accept both, for example, iniziare, io ho iniziato la partita, I started or I have started the game, is different than il film è iniziato. The film has started. Because the meaning in Italian changes. So I started something, but the movie has started. So, as I said, that takes some time to sink in. So, it's important to do exercises, to read about it, and also to practice Passato Prossimo in real life. We usually, for past actions that are framed, like that we have a specific time frame, for example, ieri, l'anno scorso, sono andato a Milano. La settimana scorsa ho mangiato la carne. So we will see later on when we make the distinction between passato prossimo and imperfetto the different cases. But usually we use it when it's an action that has started and ended in the past. So terminated. And usually we have a time frame, we have an indicator of time. But still, the discussion is longer because there are several cases, and we will see in the future a nice explanation when we use passato prossimo and imperfetto, because these two verbs, we use them a lot. So, to sum it up, we talk about which auxiliary we should use, the participio passato, how we build it, when we use essere or avere, if we can use both with the same verb, of course not at the same time. So, a lot of information. I hope that at least this video cast a bit of light. Now it's more clear how to use Passato Prossimo. But of course, if you have any questions, send me an email or leave a comment below this video, under this video. And of course, if you are looking for an Italian instructor, like teacher, well, we can have classes together, and just reach out to me or find me on Verbling, italki, LanguaTalk. So, buona giornata, è stato un video lungo, 8 minuti, ma per il passato prossimo è necessario. Quindi buono studio, ci vediamo presto e buona giornata. Ciao da Francesco.